Hey, Alice,
Yes.
I have to tell you what happened recently.
Okay.
I have been doing some volunteer work lately,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the activities involved art and craft.
Ah.
I was sitting there helping out, and someone handed me a paintbrush. At first, I was just assisting, but then I started painting alongside everyone else, and I completely lost track of time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And what surprised me was how happy it made me feel. Because here's the thing, when I was in secondary school, I loved art. I was always painting and drawing. It was one of my favorite subjects. But somewhere between building a career, raising a family, running businesses, and taking care of life responsibilities, I stopped.
Mm.
Years went by before me picking up a paintbrush.
So, how did it feel like coming back to it?
Therapeutic, that's the word.
Nice. Yeah.
It wasn't about being good.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't about creating something amazing and the feeling of being completely present. For those couple of hours, I wasn't thinking about work, deadlines, responsibility, or what needed to be done next. I was simply enjoying the process.
Mm.
And it reminded me of something important. The things we loved when we were younger don't disappear. They are still there. Sometimes they just get buried beneath all the roles we play and all the things we're responsible for.
That's very nice. And that is exactly the conversation we are having today. Hi, I'm Alice Au from Midlife, and welcome back to Midlife Unfiltered.
Hi, I'm Jenny Lee from Midlife Clover Community. Today we are talking about joy, play, and why so many adults forget how to have fun.
So, Jenny, has it ever occurred to you when did play become like something we had to justify?
What do you mean?
Well, it's just like, when you sat down with your paintbrush, did any part of your brain go like, should I be doing something else right now?
Oh, immediately I was like, I should be prepping for a meeting. I should be answering emails and messages. Even just sitting there doing something that wasn't on a to-do list felt almost wrong.
So that's the thing, right? We have been trained to feel guilty about anything that isn't producing something. And somewhere between being kids and being the people we are now, joy became a reward, like something we have to earn after we have done enough.
When did that shift happen for you? Like, do you remember for a moment?
I don't think it's like a moment thing. I think it's more like a slow accumulation. Like, I prioritize the urgent over the joyful, the deadline over the delight. And I might keep telling myself that, oh, you know what, I will do that thing later. Like maybe for you, right? You might travel when the kids are older. You might paint when you retire. I might play when I have made it. And then one day we might realize we have been saying later, maybe for 15 years later.
And the thing is, you don't even notice you stopped. That's what gets me. It's not like someone took it away from you. You just drifted.
Yes. And then midlife hits and everything is shifting anyway, like our body, our role, how we see ourselves. And we go looking for something to anchor us. And you realize you give up all the things that used to make you feel most like yourself.
Okay, I want to ask you something personal.
Mm-hmm.
What was yours?
What do you mean?
The thing your 10-year-old self would be doing on a Saturday afternoon. What was it for you?
For me, it's singing. I love to sing and I used to just sing. Like around the house, in my room, I would completely lose myself in it. And in my head, I was always on a stage, like full concert, thousands of people. And I took it so serious that inside my imagination.
I love that so much. Was it a specific singer you were channeling?
Well, no, not really. Like whoever actually was on the radio. I wasn't really picky about it. I just loved the feeling of it, like being completely inside a song, like nothing else existed.
And is that why you started the YouTube channel? Because you want to be on a stage again, just different kind.
You're right. Actually, I think there's something in that. And also coming into midlife, maybe I don't really care anymore in the best possible way. Like for example, if let's say just one person watches this video and something we say actually resonate with them, to me, that's a joy. And that's enough. I don't need the whole stadium.
Okay, so let's get into it. Because I think a lot of people hear you should play more. And they go, okay, that's cute, very nice. But I have real life to deal with.
Yeah. And here's what I find interesting. So play isn't a soft feel-good extra. It's actually biological. Like your brain is actually wired for it the same way it's wired the need to sleep or movement. And when you systematically cut it out, things start to break.
What kind of things?
Well, there's this researcher called Stuart Brown who spent decades on this. What he found is that people who don't play, like seriously don't play, show reduced empathy, like lower creativity, less capacity to adapt. He also said play deprivation looks a lot like depression. But here's what's actually happening in our brain when we play. Dopamine goes up, that's our motivation and reward system firing. Cortisol drops, our stress hormone, which most of us have running at elevated levels, basically constantly. And then the really interesting part is the neuroplasticity increases. New neural pathways form. You literally become more capable of thinking differently.
So it's just not just feeling good. It actually makes us smarter.
Actually, yes. So cognitive flexibility goes up by something like 40% in studies. So which if you are navigating a career pivot at 50 or you're in the middle of massive life transitions, so maybe you know that it's not just a nice to have, but it's essential. You need your brain to be able to see options you can't currently see.
I also feel like what you're describing, I have experienced this with our YouTube channel. When we started Midlife Unfiltered, it was one of the most playful things I have done in years professionally. Like there was no guarantee, no roadmap. We were just trying things. And it unlocked something in me.
Yes, because you stop performing expertise and start being curious.
One thing I've been noticing about myself is that I can't just go off and play. I always feel like I have the responsibility to take care of us.
That is true because that is real as well. And I don't want to dismiss that. But I think we use busyness as a really sophisticated way of avoiding the question of what we actually want. Like I spoke to a friend in Hong Kong, high achieving mate partner at his firm. He used to play tennis 3 times a week just because he loved it. And then he got promoted and he stopped. He told himself he would go back to it later. And by the time I spoke to him a few years later, tennis had become this abstract memory. And the thing is, he hadn't built the career security he thought would finally set him free to play. He would just gotten tired.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, and I think it's really common. And there is a version of this for almost everyone listening here. The thing you were going to do after, the thing that got popped while you were being serious.
I think a lot of women in midlife, especially, there's a layer of guilt on top of that.
True.
Like, not just I should be working, but I should be taking care of someone. Playing feels selfish.
Completely. And what I want to reframe is this. Play is not selfish, it's maintenance. It's just like we are going to the gym, except we are building a mental and emotional capacity to handle everything life is throwing at us. So when you don't play, you are not being more responsible. You are actually depleting a resource that everyone around you depends on.
You're less creative, less patient, less resilient.
Yes, the less resilient, that is the big one for me. Because here's what research on resilience actually shows. People with regular play in their lives recover from setbacks significantly faster. They handle failure differently, not because they are tougher, but because they have practiced being okay with uncertainty.
Exactly. Just like when you play tennis and you miss the shot, you don't have an identity crisis. You try again.
Yeah.
When your kid's painting doesn't look like a landscape, you laugh and paint it over it. That skill, being uncertain and staying okay, that transfer everywhere to your career, relationship, or even to the parts that of midlife that genuinely don't have a roadmap.
That's true. And if you have spent 20 years in a mode where everything has to be controlled and planned and productive, you don't really have that muscle anymore. That's actually kind of a reframe for me. Like, play isn't an escape from a hard stuff, it's actually training for it.
Okay, I want to go somewhere a bit different.
Okay?
I learned about this Wu Wei, which is a concept from Taoism. It translates roughly as effortless action, action without forcing. It is the idea that the best thing happens when you're not straining, when you're not trying to control every outcome, when you're just present with what's happening and moving with it.
That exactly play, right? Because this is the feeling of play. It's just like when you were painting. Were you trying to make a masterpiece?
Absolutely not.
And were you worried about whether you were doing it right?
I mean, a little bit at first and then no.
Okay, see, exactly. Because you stopped forcing and you started flowing. That is Wu Wei, and that's what it feels like.
And it is the opposite of how most of us approach our lives.
And it's the opposite of hustle culture, which is basically, grip harder, push more, control everything, optimize every moment. And I think a lot of people have been living in that mode for so long that they have lost access to other things, the ease, the presence.
There's another concept you have mentioned to me before,
Mm.
beginner's mind.
I know, choosing, right? So that one actually is from Zen. And is this idea of approaching something with completely openness, like you have never seen it before. Just like, what happens if I try this?
That's how children play.
Yeah.
And it also how every creative breakthrough in history happened. Someone stopped being an expert for a moment and became curious instead. So when people say midlife is about reinvention, this is actually what they mean. Not changing everything externally, recovering a way of being.
That actually is a very beautiful way to put it. Recovering a way of being. It's not like going backward, not trying to be young again, but reclaiming the part of you that was curious and light before life got so serious, and bringing that into wherever you are becoming now.
Okay, so for the people listening who are going, I'm in it. I want this, but I don't know where to start. Because it has been so long that I don't even know what my version of play is anymore.
Well, that's actually is a really honest thing to say. And I think a lot of people actually feel that. And here's actually I would start. Think back to when you were around 10 to 12 years old, when you wanted some independence and self-direction in the memory. And ask yourself, what was I doing on a Saturday afternoon when nobody was telling me what to do?
What if you can't remember?
Well, actually, most of us, we should be able to remember something, or maybe, just need to take some time. And the answer usually comes really fast once you actually get yourself go there. So it could be like, I was building things, or I was writing, or I was on a bike, or I was dancing around my bedroom, or I was making up elaborate pretend worlds.
My answer to that question, by the way, was really painting and drawing. Art was something I loved when I was younger. Just like when I picked up that paintbrush again recently, it wasn't really about the painting itself. It was about reconnecting with a part of myself that have been quietly waiting all these years.
See, it's still there. It's just that, it will never leave you. Maybe, it just gets buried. And the exercise isn't about recreating your childhood. It's about identifying the quality that make you light up. Was it making things, moving, being creative, being with people, being completely alone in your own world?
So you're looking for the feeling, not the specific activity.
Yes, you're right. So we are actually looking for that feeling. And then you ask yourself, where could I get that feeling now? In a way that fits who I actually am at this point in my life.
What's the smallest possible way someone could start?
Well, I would say that the smallest possible way is to give yourself 30 minutes this week where you have no agenda, no outcome, no product. And you just do something you chose purely because it sounds like it might be fun.
I love that. And you know what? I'm going to keep painting. Not
Nice.
because I wanted to become an artist, not because I need to be good at it, but because it brings me joy. And I think that's something many of us need to give ourselves permission to do more often.
Yeah, that is very true.
And before we wrap up, we want to hear from you. The 10-year-old version of you, what were they doing? Just write the first things that comes up and then look at that answer and ask, when was the last time I did that? And tell us in the comment.
Yes. And if this episode hit something for you, please subscribe because we are here every week having exactly this kind of conversations.
See you all next week.